Hello, my name is Hope Boynton and I will be competing in Level 3 of the FCCLA STAR event, Teach and Train. Throughout this project, I had the opportunity to immerse myself in the career of teaching and training, specifically as it pertains to a kindergarten teacher in a public school setting. First of all, what are kindergarten teachers responsible for? Kindergarten teachers are responsible for laying the foundation of learning for children. They teach phonics, letter recognition, numbers, basic science, and basic math. They are also integral to laying out the puzzle pieces for children to put together when learning how to read. Teachers are also responsible for giving children an outlet and allowing them to be creative. Kindergarten teachers must teach their students how to behave in a classroom setting. For many students, kindergarten teacher is the first time they will have ever been in a classroom. Successfully teaching a child how to behave in a classroom will make the transition from kindergarten to first grade to second grade and so on much, much smoother. Kindergartners are little people that experience big emotions, so it is vital that a kindergarten teacher be patient and understanding. It is extremely important that teachers in general, not just kindergarten teachers, understand that they have one of the most important jobs in our society, shaping tomorrow's minds. At a minimum, kindergarten teachers are required to have a bachelor's degree in either childhood development, early childhood education, or elementary education. They will also need proper state licensure. The job of a kindergarten teacher is expected to grow about as fast as average, or at 7%. Speaking of jobs, Cummins K-8 school in Shelby County in Memphis, Tennessee has a job opening for a kindergarten through second grade teacher. Advancement within this position is typically going to require extra degrees or certifications. Advancement could look like entering an administrative position, such as a superintendent, vice principal, principal. It could also look like pursuing a career as a school counselor or school psychologist. Whether an elementary school teacher decides to stay at the elementary level or move up is completely up to them. However, most will require extra degrees or certifications. Many people have inspired me to pursue education, most being my own teachers. Brittany Davenport, Barbara DeWeese, Melinda Tingle, Kate Sanders, and Candace Griffith were just a few teachers who showed me the kind of teacher that I want to be. During my freshman year, Miss Debbie Dawson allowed me to shadow her at an after-school program called SOAR. At this program, I got to work with a group of kindergartners and fell in love with it. So much so that I continue to go back to this program time and time again to volunteer, whether it be after school throughout the week or over the summer for Summer SOAR. Additionally, as a part of this project, Miss Angie Boston, who is a kindergarten teacher at Griffith Elementary School, allowed me to shadow her and even allowed me to work one-on-one with her students. Later on, she allowed me to present my math lesson to her group of kindergartners. Unfortunately, teacher burnout is a huge issue within the profession. In order to not become a statistic, I plan to leave school at 5 p.m. and stay no later. I also want to give myself one day a week in which I don't lesson plan or evaluate student progress. Additionally, a supportive administration can massively aid in preventing teacher burnout. I hope to teach in a school where administration will call out mistakes but also celebrate wins. When becoming a teacher, my main motivation is to be there for students' big aha moments. I once got to witness a student have an aha moment when he finally read a challenging word all by himself. One big thing that I value within education is diversity and inclusion. I want to make sure that every single one of my future students feels seen and heard in my classroom. Learning styles can drastically shape the way that a teacher does their job. For me, I know that I'm a visual and hands-on learner, but I understand that I have to differentiate my teaching and content to the learning styles of my students. Thanks to opportunities like this project, I am absolutely certain that education is the career path for me. After this self-assessment, I was able to come up with manageable boundaries for myself to prevent burnout. This assessment allowed me to see both my weaknesses and my strengths when it comes to pursuing a career in education. I know that I need to work on building up my confidence and learning how to more effectively manage my time. My project most closely relates to Family and Consumer Sciences National Standard 4.1, Analyze Career Paths within Early Childhood Education and Related Services. Let's talk about my lesson. The lesson I chose to present to Miss Angie's kindergarten class was greater than less than 1 through 10. This lesson covers Tennessee Math Standard KCCC 7, which states, compare two given numbers up to 10 when written as numerals using the terms greater than, less than, or equal to. Math inequalities are something I always struggled with in elementary school, so I knew that I wanted to plan a lesson and hopefully provide students with an understanding of this topic that I never got. I decided to teach them the method that the inequality symbol always points to the smaller of the two numbers, excluding the equal sign, of course. In order to make the lesson fun, I decided to repurpose some inflatable alien and planet toys for the students to identify the smaller between the two. I first started by having students identify which inflatable alien or planet was smaller. We repeated this activity about 10 times, switching up the two students who were chosen to hold the inflatable toys. After that, I then taped numbers onto the inflatable toys and repeated the first activity, but asked the students to identify the smaller number rather than the smaller inflatable toy. Next, we did an activity in which we completely took away the inflatable toy. Instead, I just asked them to identify the smaller number. After repeating that 10 or so times, I asked the kids to then stand up. Once they were stood up, I asked them, based on drill cards that I had made, to use their arms to show me which way the inequality sign would point. Or they would do this to show me that it was an equal sign. After we repeated that activity 10-15 times, we moved on to the 5-question assessment. This worksheet had 5 inequality sets with a blank in between them for students to write the inequality sign. Most students definitely struggled with the worksheet, which I expected due to the fact that Miss Angie's class is at a lower level and an inclusion class. However, there were a few students who really grasped the method. Most students were able to finish their worksheet with extensive teacher help. About 7 of the students were at an extremely low math level, so they struggled quite a bit and really just didn't understand the content. Overall, the next time I teach this lesson, I will make it a 2-day extravaganza. The first day will focus on identifying the smaller object or number, maybe even coming up with a different method for certain students who are really struggling to use. The second day will be focused on teaching all about inequalities because it's such a big concept that it needs an entire day. I think that splitting it up will allow students to better comprehend the content. This has been my project entitled Becoming Miss Hope because truthfully, that is my main goal. One day, I want to walk into a classroom of students and have them all call me Miss Hope because that is what I feel I am called to do. Thank you so much for your time and attention.